Welcome back. This is the Kelly Roach Show. I am super excited to have the one and only Jasmine Womack here on the show with me today. Hey, Jasmine.
Hi, Kelly.
I'm
Super
so
excited.
happy you're here.
Yes.
So, Jasmine is just a star and a gem, someone that I've had the opportunity to work with personally over the last couple years. And she is a book monetization expert. She helps people not only get their books done and out in the world, but more importantly, she does the one thing that authors always forget, which is the most important thing, which is making sure that people have a plan for making money from their books. So, Jasmine, do you want to share a little bit about yourself and your business with everybody listening today?
Yes, absolutely. And hello, everyone listening. My name is Jasmine Womack. Super excited to meet you all through the podcast. I help leaders and founders amplify their voice, expand their influence, and multiply their income. And the way that I help them to do this is by writing a thought leadership book that positions them and expands their expertise in their industry. And I also help them to monetize their books, whether this is through speaking, events, transforming their books into courses, coaching programs, and more.
I love it. I love it. And I was going to say, amplifying their invoices, I'm all for that. I'm a yes for that. So whether we're amplifying the invoice or we're amplifying their voice, I'm good with it, Jasmine. We're on the right track. You're on the right show. So I'm so happy you're here. And I love bringing people on the show that really walk their talk. You know, I'm obviously very selective about the people that I bring on the show. I've known you for a couple years now. You're one of the people in our Legacy Builders program that is creating record growth for yourself in a year where a lot of people are stuck in the belief that they can't grow, they can't win in this market, no one's buying. There's kind of that mentality going on. And you and I were having a private DM conversation, and you were sharing with me, oh, just casually, like, Kelly, I just wrapped up my event, and this is what happened. And I was like, Jasmine, you have to come on the show and talk about this. I need people to hear what's really going on out in the world when people are walking their talk and really like showing up for their people. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, I want to touch on what you do from a book monetization standpoint as well, but we're going to give everyone an invitation today for the book monetization workshop that you have coming up in conjunction with the audiobook release. So we'll share. If you are listening today and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to learn more about how I can monetize my book, Jasmine actually has a workshop coming up with us. But Jasmine, talk to everyone about this event that you just did. What was your strategy? How did you set yourself up for success to sell from the stage? How many products and programs did you sell? Meaning different offers. Like, just talk to everybody a little bit about how you pulled this magic act off in 2024, where everybody's saying, no one's buying anything, and you're having record-breaking growth in your business.
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I did not do it all by myself. I definitely talked back and forth with my Legacy Builders coach, which is Heidi, a lot on this. And one of my peers that I met through Legacy Builders, May Silvers, actually helped to organize and plan my event. And it actually started a few years ago when I hosted an event and my sales were nowhere near. It was probably my biggest event in attendance, and my sales were nowhere near where I thought they were going to be. And May and Ty held a live events training, and I flew down to Florida and they shared some things with me in that moment that immediately helped me to make money, right? And so at this year's event, one of the things that I did was I actually raised my rates. I raised my rates for the tickets. And when I did that, I found that it actually segmented my audience.
Yep,
And so
absolutely.
I had a warm audience, and I also had more experienced, higher level attendees in our attendance, as opposed to people who didn't really know who I was, or people that were new or starting from ground zero.
Yeah.
And so with increasing the ticket rates, it actually bought a higher caliber client, and they were ready to learn, right? And so that was one of the things that I did. I increased the ticket rates. We definitely had more of a warm attendance in the audience, as opposed to just trying to market to everyone and get as many people in. It was a very niche audience. We probably We sold 55 tickets and probably about 20 virtual, but we
Mhm.
actually had about 45 in person. And, with virtual, it fluctuated 12 to 18 or whatnot.
Mhm.
And what we sold at the event, I sold three packages, a $10,000 package,
Mhm.
a $16,500 package, and I also sold a very limited number. I sold one $65,000
Yeah.
package, and I also sold my elite coaching, which includes the group coaching
Yeah.
along with one-on-one, which is a $30,000 package. So it was actually four. And so my $65,000 package sold. I sold out of one-on-one coaching for the whole entire year for 2025.
Amazing. Oh
And
my gosh.
we actually had most of our attendees who enrolled in our group programs enroll into the $16,500 program as opposed to the $10,000 program. So it gave me a
It's
lot of
phenomenal.
data
Yeah.
in regards to what type of events, what price points, who to bring in, what to sell. And it
No, this
also gave
is
me data in regards to what people are looking for.
Yeah, no, that's phenomenal. Okay, I have so many more questions and I want to go deeper, but I want to touch back on a couple things that you just shared. So, first of all, you shared that what crystallized you creating the strategy for this event is that you had an event where you didn't get the results that you wanted. I want to emphasize that for everyone because this is how every breakthrough happens in business, right, Jasmine?
Oh, absolutely.
Every single breakthrough that we ever have in business is when something doesn't go the way that we want it to. And instead of giving up, we double down and say, no, I'm going to figure out why it didn't work and I'm going to figure out how to make it work. So I want to double click on that because I'm sure there's people listening that have abandoned things in their business. I don't care whether it was monetizing their book, running live events, maybe it's launches, maybe it's master classes, maybe it's your consult strategy, where you threw the strategy out instead of saying, no, I need to peel the onion back on what's happening in this strategy and figure out how to make it work. So I love that you shared that. The second piece was you talked about how you leveraged both community and strategists to support you in redesigning the strategy. For people that don't know, Heidi is one of our strategists inside Legacy Builders, which is one of our higher level elite programs for business owners that are already running successful businesses but are building teams and scaling. And that's the program that Jasmine's referring to. And you leverage the community. So you leveraged our team, Ty and Heidi, you leveraged the community, you tapped into some amazing expertise, which obviously she helps people with the event. So I love that you mentioned that you were like, okay, let me get some focus support on why the strategy isn't working and figure out how to get it working. Then you talked about how you had courage. And the courage was in a year where a lot of people are maybe, I've had many people say, should I lower my rate? Should I not sell my high ticket? All of these things. And you actually raised your rates. And I think what you're talking about here is really important and something people need to think about too. Because you mentioned how with raising your rates, what it really did was it brought you way more qualified buyers. If you had a lower ticket price, the people who came probably wouldn't have been able to afford a lot of those higher ticket things, right? But instead, you only tapped into really warm people that knew you, like you, trusted you, right? They came, they spent the money to be there, and you said they were really ready to learn, they were invested, and then obviously you had success with the upsell. So I'm going to pause there for a second. Is there anything else on those three things, Jasmine, that you want to add just for the listeners as they're kind of listening to the steps that you took with this?
Absolutely. We had probably our largest attendance. It was maybe between 150, 175 people. We did nowhere near what we thought we were going to do in sales. And so what I did, I actually dedicated an entire year. And this was a strategy that I learned from someone else who had been on your podcast. I think it was Dr. Darnell Jervy
Oh,
Harmon.
yeah, I love
Yeah.
Darnell. Yeah.
And I learned this strategy from her, and I just dedicated a year to going to live events. And so I went to a live event if not every quarter, at least every other month. And most of these live events were out of state for me, which required me to travel, which required me to pay for hotel, lodging, and all the things and make arrangements for my children. So it didn't happen overnight. Where you say the rinse and repeat, the dedication, the commitment, I committed to the craft. of it,
Yeah. I
and
love that.
really learning the sales piece, and not just the sales piece, but how to deliver on a high level. Because
Yeah.
you can have an event, but what matters is that your attendees get more than what they came for.
Yes.
And
Exactly.
it needs to be where they're learning, where they can actually learn what you promised that they were going to
Yeah.
learn, and they walk away with plans, they walk away with
So
strategies, they
good.
walk away with things done because you created space for that, you know.
So
So I
true.
wanted to touch on that.
Okay, so no, this is so good. And, I just want to emphasize for everyone, we moved from doing bigger events to smaller events also, and we've found higher sales in the smaller events as
Hmm.
well. Way less stress, way more intimate, better conversations, more one-on-one times with all the participants. So don't be afraid. This is for everyone listening. Don't be afraid to run small but very curated events with high caliber people, because you may be able to actually make more sales on the back end than you would with a 2 or 3 times bigger room. Now, Jasmine, let's move over and let's start talking about the offers. So you already mentioned that you actually had, 3 packages plus the one-on-one, the high ticket. And so talk to us a little bit about what your strategy was when it came time to sell. Can you share with everyone maybe a little bit about how did you design the flow of the event? How did you integrate your sales into the event? And maybe what were, let's say, 1 or 2 of the things that really worked that you're going to make sure you do again in your live event next year? And maybe some of the things that you learned that you want to refine.
Absolutely. So it was, for anyone listening, it was slightly over 500,000 in sales in 2.5 days in the room. But these 2.5 days we had really been working on for the entire year.
Yeah.
And so I'm of the belief that sales begins before you come in the room.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the attendees, with the exception of maybe a few that had been invited by, someone else who knew of my work, they had come in through some of our live launches, or
Mm-hmm.
they were already current clients. They were very familiar. They were
Yep.
familiar with how I flow, how I teach, and all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
And so, because the ticket was a higher ticket, we tried to make sure that we included a ton of value before they came into the room. Once they purchased their ticket, they had access to some level of curriculum. We were also showing up on a monthly basis to, provide live training. My coaching team provided one-on-one 10-minute coaching sessions about a month before the event. So
Super
one of
smart.
the things that this did is that it allowed them to get some value, where they were able to
Yeah.
get some strategy that they could implement in real time. But it also allowed us to do some market research to see where people were outside of their applications or their forms. And
Really
so
good. Yeah.
it allowed me to know what I needed to include it in the content, even what type of pivots to make, right?
So,
And
yeah.
so I actually have a background in curriculum and instruction because I'm a former teacher.
Yeah.
And so all of my events are curriculum based. I don't just have a ton of speakers where we just do a lot of motivation. It's actually instruction taking place and implementation in the room. And so when I curated the content, I always had to make sure that I addressed things that they were going through or holding them back, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then just based on whatever the focus was. Like for day one, we're talking about creating your published and paid blueprint. Day two was all about creating your $1 million coaching or consulting offer,
Mm-hmm.
because I knew that that's what they wanted.
Yeah.
Monetizing the book, writing the book, and actually turning the book into streams of income. Now, in terms of the pitch and how I incorporated sales, I'm of the belief that sales is in everything that you do: customer service and support,
Yeah.
your consistency, how you show up, how you relate to and engage.
Mm-hmm.
And you can sell without being salesy. And you can also repel people from wanting to do business with you because of how you show up and how
Yes.
you do business.
Yes.
And so I just operate in the spirit of excellence, and I do my best and help my team does their best to give our attendees the type of experience that we would want to have, right?
Yeah.
And so, in terms of sales, it was embedded throughout. And at the event, in terms of the pitch, and this was a strategy that I received from May, we actually simplified. And so where I thought that the simplification was going to cause confusion, it actually created crystal clear clarity. So what I mean by this is that in the past, I always had this very thick offer booklet that spelled out all the offers step by step, module
Yeah.
by module, had testimonials. It probably was like a 20-page booklet,
Okay. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
We got rid of all of that and just had one sheet of paper.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
It
powerful.
was
Yeah.
one sheet of paper
Yeah.
where it just outlined and gave a snapshot of all the offers with a QR code that led to the sales pages where they could self-select based on an audit, self-select where they wanted to go or what offer they were best for based on their stage in business. And then they could just read all of the details there.
So good. So good. No, I love it.
Of course you have questions, but it was just it was just beautiful.
Yeah. Listen, you've heard me say simplify to multiply. So I think that works on every level and everything. I love, Jasmine, how you talked about how you start serving them before they even walk through the door for the event. You're building a relationship with them. You're adding value for them. You're using that as data to drive what you're delivering in the event. You're using that to position the offer. I mean, that is absolutely brilliant. That's like, it's what we strive to do in all of our products and programs and services in the business long term. But I don't think people usually think about events in that way. I think they think of events more so as like a singular, people show up, they do the thing, maybe they buy at the event, maybe they don't. And then, maybe you keep a relationship with them to see if they want to do something in the future. But how you reverse that funnel, brilliant. I love it.
What I've learned, and I've honestly learned this through legacy builders, the same way that I would facilitate a live launch is the same way to facilitate an in-person event.
Yeah.
The only difference is that you're in person.
Yeah.
So you talk a lot, about, the miracle hour, different sales strategies, nurturing. Why wouldn't we do that for a live event?
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't we implement those same strategies and touch points for an in-person experience? It only amplifies the experience when everyone comes into the room.
Yeah. So smart. I love it. See, this is why I was like, you need to come and talk about this. This is brilliant. So when you made the offers, so you now, instead of having the offer book, you now have the one sheet, you have your multiple offers. Perfect. Did you present the offers, all of the offers from the stage? Was your team just having one-on-one conversations with individuals about what was right for them? Tell me how you actually worked the introduction of the offer itself and then the follow-up that happened after that initial introduction of the offers.
Okay, awesome. So I actually write in my offer pitch as a segment in the live event. And so I don't just come out and make the offer. I do lead up to it. It's almost like a webinar, but in person.
Okay. That's brilliant. I love it. She's still live launching. You're still live launching here, Jasmine.
It's almost like a webinar, except for in person, where you go through the different archetypes, you tackle the myths, truths, mindsets, and then you just transition into, the next step. Yeah. And yes, I do pitch from the stage, and I don't call it pitching. I just extend the offer. Yeah. Because when I extend when I say pitch, it makes me feel salesy. So I'm like extending an offer. If you know that you need additional help and support and you are ready for that, then this is how I can help you. And so I go over, I had them to reference the sheet on there. Everyone pull out your sheet. We're going to go through this step by step and just very conversational. Level 1 is the authority collective. This is where leaders become household names. We're going to help you to write your book, launch, market your book, and create your signature show and grow your personal brand. Level 2, if you are a published author, this is the Published and Paid Academy is for you. Yeah. This is where we're going to help published authors create your coaching and speaking empire. And we go over all of the details of that. Level 3 is the Published and Paid Academy with CEO Elite. This is where you can get more one-on-one coaching with me. And for those of you all who are big dogs and you're ready for my
I
team
love
to
it.
take over everything for you, then we have the platinum
Yeah.
offer. And you can just look at that, on
Yeah.
your own. You do have to have an interview for me to accept you.
Yeah.
And so if this is you, then you can speak with the enrollment team in the back and they'll get you scheduled for a one-on-one today before the day is over. And the offer extension maybe lasted 15 to 20 minutes. The team was in the back in the enrollment center ready to accept or speak to anyone, answer questions. We also had a lot of current members that renewed
Yeah.
as well, and it flowed beautifully. So I did a soft pitch or a soft offer on day one, but I did my hard extensive offer, my hard pitch, so called hard pitch, or an extensive offer on day two. And then we followed up after lunch before we left, with another offer recap.
Super smart. Just brilliant, Jasmine. Good for you. I mean, first of all, you so deserve it. And the results are astounding from the size group that you had and the results that you got and the multiple offers. And I just love a great comeback because, you've heard my story a million times, Jasmine. Anything that I've ever had success with, it always came from failure, right? And so I think it's so important just to remind everybody of that because we're sitting in the fourth quarter of 2024. A lot of people are sitting here tossing things out that don't need to be tossed out. They just need to be redesigned and reinvented. So a couple of things I want to share with everyone as we're sitting here today. First of all, obviously you all can see how brilliant this woman is and why she is so amazing at what she does and why I chose to bring her on the show today. And so if you're listening to the show today and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to write a book, or I have a book, or I have a book that I never monetized properly, or you don't have a back end product for your book, we're going to put all of Jasmine's information down below the show so that you can get in touch with her. I can put my full endorsement behind her. She stands behind what she does. She cares about her clients and she's in it to win it, right? This is not a new strategy for her. It's something she's been doing for years. She is committed and she's in it to win it. So all of Jasmine's information is going to be down below the show. Now, here's the really cool thing. My team recruited Jasmine and said, Jasmine, we are doing this audiobook launch for Bigger Than You, and we want something absolutely amazing that's super valuable for our street team members. Those are the people that are early reviewers, helping us share about the book, etc. We want something really valuable to gift all of you that help us spread the word and become a bestseller. And I was like, let's have Jasmine teach a monetization workshop so that you can get a taste of this work that she does. You can get immediate strategies that you can implement, whether you have a book, whether you're dreaming of writing a book, whether you have an old book. Like, listen, Bigger Than You is turning 7. So even if you have a book that you released in the past and you're like, I didn't really do that justice, come to Jasmine's workshop and come learn these monetization strategies. And you're going to get an idea of like how you can just blow the lid open as far as what is possible. So if you want to sign up to be on the street team, the monetization workshop with Jasmine is just one of like 15 things that we're including for all of our street team members as a huge thank you for being a part of the Bigger Than You audiobook launch. But we also want to invite you to participate in what we're doing, which is I'm relaunching a book from the past, changing formats, monetizing it, and building off of the back end. And we want to also put a resource in front of you that can help you learn how you can do the same. We don't specialize in this. We don't teach book marketing strategies. That's not our niche, but we have amazing people that it is. So 2 calls to action for all of you listening to the show today. Number 1, follow Jasmine, get in touch with Jasmine, scroll down below the episode so you can learn everything about what she's doing and see whether or not you want to take that next step. Number 1. Number 2, sign up to be on the Bigger Than You audiobook launch team. And when you do that, when you join the street team, and all you have to do is share on social media, it's not like a heavy lift. When you do that, one of the bonus gifts that you're going to get is you will get to be in attendance on this monetization workshop with Jasmine, where she walks you through strategies that you can implement right away to start monetizing an old book, a new book, a book that you're writing, whatever the case. Jasmine, anything that you want to add for our listeners before we wrap up here today?
No, I'm just so excited. So it's a couple of things where you were saying, about how this year has been. Listen, everyone, I have live launches that have generated hundreds of thousands of
Yeah.
dollars. And this year, I had them at the top of the year. I experienced some
Yeah.
launches that failed,
Yeah.
and so it happens, and it was not with new content.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going. One of the
Yeah.
things that I did, and I worked with Heidi throughout the entire year, was what I refined my offers and up leveled my messaging.
Hi.
I was
Jasmine, wait, I have to say something really quick. For those that are listening on audio, Jasmine's amazing son just made a cameo. And I just want to share something really quick, which is that we are having a children's homeschool entrepreneur table at our next event in March. You'll
Oh,
probably be
that's
there, Jasmine.
amazing.
I think you'll be there.
Yeah.
So that we can have all the young entrepreneurs come learn and come be with us in the room and absorb all of the brilliance. So we love when the kids make a cameo because we want them to hear all of this, right, Jasmine?
Oh, absolutely. My kids are always in the room with me,
I
and,
love
and
it.
they always do pop-ins.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah,
good.
I'm definitely excited about that. But yeah, stay in it. Don't give up. One of the things that we did, we refined the offers, we up-leveled the
Yeah,
messaging. I even went through that imposter syndrome. Should I
for
lower my
sure.
rates? No,
Yeah.
because the value that you provide is the value that you provide.
Yeah.
Now, next, for those of you all who are listening, I have been personally waiting for this audiobook to come out. So I'm so excited for this Bigger Than You audiobook launch. And for those of you all who have books, you're relaunching books, you need to pay attention to how Kelly is launching this book. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Oh, thank you,
So,
Jasmine. Yeah, I told my team, I'm like, man, these people are going to be so sick of hearing about this book, but I know it can change people's lives. And I know we need to change the conversation about team and we need to help more people really understand that they will be so unstoppable, unbreakable, unshakable when they get the right support system around them. And you talked about that multiple times today, Jasmine. Our team is the people that are on our team, the resources from the outside, our coaches, our mentors, our ecosystem, the people that we're in programs with, all of these people together, it takes a village, right?
yes.
And you mentioned that a lot today. So thank you. Thank you, Jasmine. I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Just phenomenal success with this event. And I know next one, you'll probably do 1 million and we'll bring you back on the show. We'll talk about the next, when you do 1 million at your next event, which is
I'm here.
awesome. You just gave so much value today for everyone, Jasmine. And I just appreciate you giving everyone the details, but also just the encouragement of keep going. Like you said, stay in the game, keep going. Don't be afraid to reinvent because even when we've mastered a strategy, it doesn't mean that it just works ad nauseum forever. We have to
Right.
keep reinventing ourselves and keep up leveling, and things work for a period and then they have to be completely reconstructed in order to get them to keep working into the future. And you experience that. We've experienced that so many times over. But yeah, just amazing stuff, Jasmine. So very well-deserved success. I'm so happy for you and proud of you, and just keep helping people get their voices heard and get their word out. Books are so important. You know my obsession with books, so I love your work so much because I think books change lives for sure. So just a reminder for everyone listening, follow Jasmine, get in touch with Jasmine. All of her information is down below the show. When you sign up for the Bigger Than You audiobook launch team, you are going to get access to that book monetization workshop with Jasmine. Make sure you're following along as we launch the audiobook. I hope you'll get some ideas and inspiration, and then you're going to get lots of tactical strategy on the workshop with Jasmine as well. So thank you, everyone, so much for listening to the show today. If you loved this episode, share it on social media. Sharing is caring. It's how we provide a commercial-free experience to you all by getting the show out in the world and getting more people listening and reviewing. Jasmine, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So to be continued, everyone. Here's to an amazing finish to 2024, and let's just crush it as we start 2025.